Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Melody. I'm 21 years old and I currently go to an ADN ASN program for nursing school. It's a 2-year program. I just finished my first year of nursing school, so in the fall I'll start my 3rd semester out of 4 total semesters. I thought today I would give you some tips and tricks on what I've learned from being a first year student in nursing school on how to study and how to take exams. I feel like I learned a lot in the first semester, but I feel like I learned even more in the 2nd semester on how to take exams, and not only how to take the exams, but also how I do well with studying and, how you may want to study for 1st and 2nd semester of nursing school. The first thing that I would say is, and this is something that I heard from my professors, that is you want to really try to get the best testing grades in the beginning of the semester. That way when it comes to finals, you don't have to stress as much of like, oh my god, I need to get like this out of this in order to pass like the class. Ensuring that you're doing as best as you can right off the bat will help you in the end, because by the end of the semester you're probably going to be really burnt out and not feeling like as peppy and motivated maybe to do the very best. And you don't want that stress of like, oh my god, am I going to pass? So that's why I would suggest making sure that you do a lot of learning and practice for the first couple of exams that you will have in the beginning of the semester. That way, again, when you get to the end of the semester, it's not as bad of, oh my god, I need like a 45 out of 50 in order to pass. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about was where you're studying. So what kind of environment you're setting yourself up to study in. This can affect, your mood, how motivated you may feel. You may have a lot of distractions where you're studying. So, you want to make sure that you're picking a spot that has limited distractions, maybe not as much noise if possible. I personally prefer a quiet, brighter space. So I like to be around natural light. I like to be outside. Sometimes in the past, I have even gone into my car and just driven to like a park or something like that and just sat in my car and studied. Usually I do that when I don't need the internet. If I do need the internet, then I will stay at home, or if it's possible in your area, going to maybe like a Starbucks or a Panera Bread to study at. If your schools are open enough, maybe you can go to the library. I loved going to the library for my pre-nursing stuff, and I didn't utilize it for my first year or 2 doing prereq, but then it was my 3rd year of doing prereqs where I was like actually loving the library and was like, why haven't I done this before? So if that's an option for you, definitely go to your school's library. If it's too noisy at home, if at all possible, maybe the regular library is open. Maybe, like I said, you can go outside and study. I would definitely not suggest, if you're going to have your study space be in your room, I wouldn't study in your bed, because you want to make sure that your bed is where you go to sleep at. So first off, it's going to affect your sleep when you're using your bed to lounge around and be on your phone. It's also going to affect your sleep if you're laying in bed studying. It also is going to affect your studying, because if that's the place that you normally sleep in, you're going to feel more sleepy and you may fall asleep. I have plenty of friends who will tell me, I started studying on my bed and next thing you know, I fell asleep. If you're the type of person who needs to listen to music when you study, I definitely suggest picking a playlist that doesn't have any lyrics, so like maybe lo-fi that doesn't have as many lyrics. I personally, if I do listen to music, which I do need to do sometimes, I don't do it all the time. My personal favorite is I listen to a Breath of the Wild playlist, and it's got like rain sounds in it too, so it's like pretty relaxing, but it doesn't require a lot of brain power for me to listen to it, you know what I mean? It's not much of a distraction, because when songs that you're listening to have lyrics in them, you may get easily distracted and you might start thinking about the lyrics instead of thinking about what you're reading or studying. I'll link the playlist that I listen to down in the description as well. Now we're gonna move on to when to study. For me, I think my biggest piece of advice is don't be the person who crams. Nursing school is definitely not the place to cram the day 2 days before the exam. There's just so much information. There's so many little things that you may need to remember, especially for something like pharmacology or pathophysiology. There's so many things you need to know, and cramming before, it's not gonna work. Usually when I start to study, it's like a week before the exam at the minimum. Typically I don't really study anything more or less than that, or at least I try not to study any less than that. It's definitely not like how long you're studying, so just because you've been studying for like 20 hours doesn't guarantee that you are going to pass the exam. Personally, it's about the quality of studying and not so much the quantity. So you want to make sure that the studying that you are doing is working. And a lot of the times if you're just like sitting there reading, rewriting notes, that's not really studying. You have to do something that like tests your brain to see how much you actually know, and then you can go back, look at your notes. I would definitely also suggest recognizing when you are the most alert. For me, it's usually between the hours of 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. A lot of the times I may not get the opportunity to study in between those times, so I just make sure that I don't stay up anything past 11 p.m. I would say. Usually by then I know, I recognize that I'm not learning anything more, and sleep is really important for making sure those connections that you've made during the day stay connected. So that's why I don't suggest staying up all night before the exam to study. I don't suggest staying up late to study. So I would just say, listen to your body. If you're sitting there and you feel like you're not absorbing any more information, maybe you're getting more confused, maybe you're really sleepy, I would suggest just either taking a break or going to bed and then just going back at it the next day. That's why studying a minimum a week ahead is really important, so that way you're not cramming all this information the night before. And definitely take breaks when you're studying. If you have to, I would set a timer for when you're going to dedicate studying to and when you're going to take a break. That could be anywhere for 20 minutes of studying to 60 minutes of studying, and then it could be anywhere from 5-minute breaks to 20-minute breaks. It's all like personable to you, what works best for you. Personally, I like to do longer studying sessions and then I get a longer break. But if you find yourself during those breaks, getting distracted, spending more time on your phone or on your computer, whatever it is, then definitely time those breaks. Definitely put away any distractions that you do have, with putting your phone away, maybe just using it as a timer, maybe put it on do not disturb. How to study in nursing school is probably going to be a little bit different than what you are used to for prereqs. I will tell you the exams are a lot different than your prereq exams. So like nursing school exams, they are going to have select all that apply, multiple choice. They're going to probably have some med dosage calculations in there, and occasionally you may have a writing question. It's pretty rare where I go, but when we did have one, it was a pretty easy question. A lot of the times I feel people will feel like the test is tricking them, their professors are tricking them. So that's why it's really important that you want to follow when you're reading a question in the exam, in practice tests. So you're going to want to look at the question and read, okay, first off, what is it asking? You want to look for keywords such as what would be the best option, what's the priority, which of the following does not, like those kinds of things. And then you want to see, does it follow an assess, do, teach model? So usually you would assess first, you would do something next, you would implement some sort of thing, and then you would go on to teaching the patient. A lot of the times you're not going to do them in order. So if you haven't had an assessment, you're probably not going to pick the answer that's a do, like an intervention. You're probably not going to pick one that's an intervention. So then okay, which ones are the assess answers? Like, am I going to need to assess for heart rate, blood pressure, whatever it is? As well as you want to look for ABCs, so airway, breathing, and circulation. And just make sure that you're reading carefully. I personally, when it comes to studying, I use a whiteboard a lot in nursing school. When it's just me studying, I will sit down, I'll listen to music, I'll just sit quietly if it's quiet enough in the house. I'll look through my notes, I'll write down information that I need to review, and I talk it out as if I'm trying to teach somebody the information. Being able to teach somebody information can help you put it into your mind, into simpler terms, into more digestible vocabulary for you to understand, and that may help you better understand and make connections. So I write it out, I talk it out like I'm teaching. I discovered in second semester that practice questions, oh my god, Practice questions. They are so great. You need to, after reviewing your information, you need to test yourself on that information before you actually take the test. So that way you know, okay, maybe I need to work more on this, maybe I need to work more on this. I'm doing pretty good on this, so I don't really need to work on that as much. Doing the practice exams and practice questions were so helpful. In fact, some of them were actually word for word on my exam. And that, I remember the exact answer. I knew why it was the right answer, and so I knew to pick it. So I would say definitely suggest practice questions. My school uses ATI. We went through the TEAS testing, so we use ATI. We got it for free. On ATI, we have a bunch of free exams that we can do. We have a bunch of free practice questions we can do. We can make our own, individualized practice exams. It will tell you why the answer was the correct answer and why the other ones weren't the right answer or the best answer. I know other schools may use HESI. I don't know anything about HESI in the sense that I don't know if you also will be getting a free resource such as similar to ATI through HESI. Our school uses our textbooks via CoursePoint Plus, which is by Lippincott. And on CoursePoint, we have access to something called PrepU. We have PrepU assignments, which are basically like small quizzes, but you can also use practice PrepU questions. And I would do a lot of practice PrepU questions on the topic that we were needing to study for. Some books that I really liked. I just opened up my NCLEX review book, so that has some practice questions in there. I hadn't used it in the school year, so I got the Saunders NCLEX RN examination practice book, and this has access, like I bought a new one, and that gave me access to their online questions as well, so I'll probably be using those for 3rd and 4th semester, as well as when I start really studying for the NCLEX. It kind of just summarizes a lot of information up, gives it pretty basically that you would need to know for taking the NCLEX, and then there's a practice questions in the actual book, and again, if you buy new, you get it practice questions online as well. They will tell you why it's the right answer, why it's the best answer, and also test taking tips such as, follow ABCs, follow assess, do, teach. Maybe if you see this word, then not to choose these kinds of answers, stuff like that. And that's pretty similar to how this other textbook was. When I started using this, I didn't use it at the beginning of the semester, and I wish I used it at the beginning of the semester because I feel like it would have helped me a lot. But like I said, I had just learned that doing a lot of practice questions is what really helps you understand what you need to know and what you may already know. But I use this is the Davis Q&A Success series. This specific textbook is for med-surg. I had one for maternity. I'm planning on getting one for the psych rotation and the pediatric rotation next semester. I'll link it down below. You can see I have all these tabs, and pretty much I just went through each chapter of like what we were studying for that exam. And you just go through, you take the exam. I would write it down on the whiteboard back there. I would only do like evens at a time or odds at a time. After you take the exam, you can look at the review, and the review section of it, again, it tells you, which one was the correct answer, why it was the best answer, and why the other ones weren't. And then it also gives you a little like blip of test taking skill. The other thing that I did was I would study in study groups. Now these consisted of my close friends who also just so happen to be in nursing school with me. Studying groups aren't for everyone, and I wouldn't use it as your sole way of studying because it should, again, also just be a review. So my study group would we would walk through the PowerPoint together. If any of us had questions or maybe we needed something to be explained differently, we would all help out and answer those questions. I started using this Med-Surg Success textbook to quiz them as well to see, how well we were all doing. And I'll probably use that and the NCLEX book 3rd and 4th semester. Studying is very individualized. I know so many people have said it over and over again, I was a 4.0 student and then I got into nursing school and I'm not really a 4.0 student anymore. I was only a 4.0 student for the first semester of nursing school, and that was it. Last semester I got, an 89 in my med-surg, and there's no rounding in my school, which made me really sad. But yeah, so I got an 89 for the med-surg, and I got like a 90, 91 for maternity, which was great. It was really great. I was proud of myself no matter what, you know. If you're passing, be proud of yourself. That's all I gotta say. You know, nursing school is very difficult, and if you end up taking an exam and you don't do very good on it, just take that and, you know, process the emotions that you may feel. Let yourself be down for, you know, a day or two, but then just understand, okay, what did I do to study, to prepare for this exam? And then just figure out, okay, well, maybe I need to rework some things. Maybe I need to expand how I study, you know, and maybe I just read the book and did flashcards. Well, maybe I need to do practice questions. I would also say utilize your free resources. There are so many people on YouTube who actually are like nursing instructors who put out content that help you better understand topics of nursing, you know, whether it's how to do ABGs, pharmacology, how to do certain skills such as like giving an enema. There's also some free resources such as nurse labs. If you do find yourself having a question, if it's possible, a lot of the times your professors will probably won't mind you asking them questions. So whether that's in lecture when you're asking them, maybe you send them an email, just make sure you give yourself time and your professor time to answer those questions. I hope that some of this information has helped you. I hope maybe you learned something new. I will leave as many resources and textbooks that I can down below in the description, so that way, you know, you can come back to this video when you need to study. Just click on those links in case you maybe forgot about them. I'll link some YouTubers that I like to watch that I find helpful for nursing review. Feel free to leave any questions you may have down in the comments. I don't obviously know everything. I'm just using what I've learned in as being a first-year student in nursing school, my experience, what I've learned, what I see other people learn. So I'll do my best to answer any questions that you may have. If you enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful, please like and subscribe. I am going to try to continue to make nursing school related videos. So please send me any recommendations of what you may want to see, what you want to see more of, down in the comments below as well. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day and good luck.